It's my Aunt Effie, and before I get started today, I want to tell you that I recently had endodontic surgery and I'm a little bit swollen. But I don't think it's very bad. I don't think it shows very much, and I feel good, so I thought I'd go ahead and review a book that I finished recently. Stephen King. It's called A Bag of Bones. Oh, if you've been watching any of my other book reviews, that I just love Stephen King. I can't get enough of him. This book was published in 1998, so it's an old one, but I'll tell you, it's just as exciting and engaging as all of his work. So this one is set in a small community. This place is so small that it's not even a town. It's not even a little city. It's just like a strip of land around a lake in Maine. So the characters are fabulous. The main character is Mike. Mike is an author. This character is beautifully developed. Honestly, I felt like the main character was Stephen King. I felt like I was reading about Stephen King having an experience the whole time I was reading the book. It was so much fun. Okay, so Mike, the protagonist, has a wife, Joanna, and Joanna dies quite early in the book. He finds out after her death that she was in the very early stages of a long wished for pregnancy. Mike really loved her and has a real hard time letting her go. He actually grieves for her for 4 years, and eventually he leaves the home that he's been in and moves up to their holiday home along the lake. And they bought that home a few years ago. It's old. They're not the first owner. It's a very unique home. It's kind of like a second vacation kind of home. And it turns out that Joanna had been going up there and making some discoveries. And these are secrets that are held by the old timers that have been living along that strip of land for many, many years, many generations. And these old timers are not very happy with Joanna for digging up these secrets. Joanna didn't tell Mike anything about it because, as it turns out, the secrets are about Mike and his family. He has ties to the area. Another character that is wonderful is a young woman named Maddie. She's a young mother and she has a delightfully precocious child. Mike is driving down the road and there's this lovely little girl, about 3 years old, walking down the middle of the road, and she's just got away from her mom very quickly and decided she was going to go to the beach and have a great adventure. So Mike rescues the child from the road. Here comes the young mother screaming around the area looking for the kid. And Mike learns more about both Maddie and the lovely young child. He also starts to learn secrets about the house that he's living in. Apparently, he doesn't live in that house alone. There are ghosts living in the house. Things happen. One of the things that happen is that they have a bell tied around, he and his wife had a bell tied around the neck of a moose, the head of a moose that hung on the wall, and the bell will ring even when there's no wind. He hears the crying of a young child, and there are plastic magnets. Remember in the 80s when we had these little plastic magnets that were letters? We put those on our refrigerators, and so he would go into the kitchen and there'd be a message for him written in those magnets. Okay, so it turns out that Maddie and little Kaya are part of the secrets. And as things keep unfolding and you learn more and things tie together, and it's just so interesting. It just keeps getting better and better. I always lose myself in these Stephen King novels. The world just rolls away, and I never want to come back. It's just so much fun. So let's read a page. I picked out a page 218. I came back to the usual chatter of birds on summer vacation and to that peculiar red darkness that means the sun is shining through your closed eyelids. My neck was stiff, my head was canted at a weird angle, my legs were folded awkwardly beneath me, and I was hot. I lifted my head with a wince, knowing even as I opened my eyes that I was no longer in bed, no longer on the swimming float, no longer on the path between the house and the studio. It was floorboards underneath me, hard and uncompromising. The light was dazzling. I squinched my eyes closed again and groaned like a man with a hangover. I eased them back open behind my cupped hands, gave them time to adjust, then cautiously uncovered them, sat all the way up and looked around. I was in the upstairs hall, lying under the broken air conditioner. Mrs. Meserve's note was still hung from it. Sitting outside my office was the green IBM with a piece of paper rolled into it. I looked down at my feet and saw that they were dirty. Pine needles were stuck to my soles, and one toe was scratched. I got up, staggered a little. My right leg had gone to sleep, then braced a hand against the wall and stood steady. I looked down at myself. I was wearing the jockeys I'd gone to bed in, and it didn't look as though I'd had an accident in them. I pulled out the waistband and peeked inside. My cock looked as it usually did, small and soft, curled up and asleep in its thatch of hair. If Noonan's Folly had been adventuring in the night, there was no sign of it now. He's so funny. It sure felt like an adventure, I croaked. I armed sweat off my forehead. It was stifling hot up here. Not the kind I ever read about in the Hardy Boys, though. Then I remembered the blood-soaked sheet in the north bedroom and the stuffed animal lying on its side in the middle of it. There was no sense of relief attached to the memory. That thank God it was only a dream feeling that you get after a particularly nasty nightmare. It felt as real as any of the other things I'd experienced in my measles fever delirium. And all those things had been real, just distorted by my overheated brain. I staggered to the stairs and limped down them, holding tight to the banister in case my tingling leg should buckle. At the foot, I looked dazedly around the living room, as if seeing it for the first time, and then limped down the north wing corridor. The bedroom door was ajar, and for a moment I couldn't bring myself to push it all the way open and go in. I was very badly scared, and my mind kept trying to replay an old episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents, the one about the man who strangles his wife during an alcoholic blackout. He spends the whole half hour looking for her and finally finds her in the pantry, bloated and open-eyed. Kira Devore was the only kind of stuffed animal age I'd met recently, but she had been sleeping peacefully under her cabbage rose coverlet when I left her and her mother and headed home. It was stupid to think I had driven all the way back to Wasp Hill Road, probably wearing nothing but my jockey shorts that I had. Well, I'll go ahead and stop there. might be some words that YouTube doesn't like. So the whole novel is exciting and fun. Let me know if you've read it. And what did you think? Do you have a favorite Stephen King novel? I read them all the time. Okay, so that's all I have. That's all I'm going to share about the book. I don't want to ruin it for anybody. It is an old one, but it's really still a wonderful read. So until I see you again, this is my Aunt Effie saying, be happy and read something.